Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again. Hold on.
Yep, I know you do it on purpose. Man, I'm the only one here today. Can y'all believe that? Hello, everybody in chat. I see you in there. And thanks for being here. Squirrel's busy today. She might be in chat, but she's got stuff that she's got to take care of today. And Greg has a family engagement. So lucky you. You get just me. Anyway, hello, Richard Elmore. Hello. And to everybody in chat. Hello. Well, anyway, gonna get right into the show today. Got a good guest, I think. Mr. Richard Farabee. He's from Florida. Let me go ahead and bring Richard out.
Can you hear me?
How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Yep,
Outstanding.
You're good, man. Outstanding.
Yeah, but I hope to get
I don't
better
know
later.
about. I don't know. It's dreary and raining here, and I've been stuck in the house all day. Is the weather nice down there in Florida right now?
No, you actually got what passed through us yesterday and last night. I watched it on the weather map. That's why I posted on my channel that I wasn't going out in the woods this weekend. It's just crappy. It's just rainy and windy, and we had winds up to 60 miles per hour in some areas, so it was a pretty rough weekend.
Hey, for some of the mods that are in chat right now, I posted a link to Richard's channel up there near the top somewhere. Also, this time I managed to post it in the description of the video. Check that out. But anyway, Rick has his own channel on YouTube. You guys want to go and check it out. He's a very good on the ground kind of person. What? Are you froze up, Rick?
You there?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're not moving.
Yeah, I'm moving in my camera, but I lost you. You froze, and then you disappeared completely.
What the heck keeps going on, y'all? I don't know. Can everybody else in chat, can you see me right now? Is Richard froze up? Am I froze up? Because on my end, it looks like he's froze up. Well, anyway, we can hear you.
All right.
You might want to exit the studio and jump back in real quick, Rick. See if that takes care of it.
Just hit the leave.
Yeah, just hit leave studio and get back in.
All right.
I'll see you in a minute. That's what I thought. Richard is froze. Yeah. Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about while he's gone. What do you want to talk about? Want to talk about barbecue recipes? We never get to go over any of this stuff whenever Squirrel and Greg are here. You know, now's my time. Y'all want to know like how to make a really good rub for pork recipes or chicken recipes? Just kidding. There he is. He's back. Hold on. There we go. Yep. Nope, you're froze up again. Oh, you're moving a little bit. You got a lag in your internet, Rick.
All right. That's weird.
It's the men in black. They don't want us talking. They don't want us to have this.
I don't know. It says I got 5G UC.
Oh, well, you're pretty good. You're pretty good right now. So let's get into it.
All right.
So you're down there in Florida How on earth did you get into this crazy Bigfoot phenomenon?
Well, I couldn't say I was ever a believer in it. I was always open. I was an avid hunter, and people would ask about it. And growing up and stuff, it would always come up in conversation, and I'd be like, "Well, I'm not opposed to it possibly being out there. I mean, wilderness is a big place." But it wasn't until 2005 is when I had my first encounter, and that's when it all changed. And you know, long story short, after that happened, it just always bothered me. I had an issue with it, and I gave up hunting. I didn't want to go out in the woods anymore. I had hooked up with Carrie Arnold, and we had long conversations. At the time, I was on night patrol, so we could talk all night while I was in my patrol car, and we'd talk all the time. Then he hooked me up with some local researchers, Jimmy and Bobby and stuff. So went out a few times with them. Long story short, they brought me in on the group, which was Bigfoot Forest Giants. And we've been doing it headstrong for the last couple of years. We've all had our encounters. That's what kind of brought us all together, is we've all had some kind of serious encounter that made an impact in our lives. So, and like I said, we get out. I get out almost every single weekend, single weekend. So, and it's knowing those guys that got me back out there. It's knowing Carrie Arnold, and I got to go out with him a few times. Every time he came to South Florida, he'd give Bigfoot Forest Giants a call. We'd meet up with him. We'd go out in the woods, and knowing the fear that he felt, but yet he was out there pushing the envelope for himself. It just motivated me to do it as well. Now, there's some things I still won't do. I won't go out in the woods at night by myself and tromping through the woods looking for this thing. I definitely feel more comfortable with other people. If you're going to die, let's die as a group, right? But I do get out by myself a lot. I've got some viewers, some subscribers that'll message me saying, you should not be out there by yourself, and it's not just Bigfoot himself. It's the fact that we have swamps here, and that's where I go into, and you've got a lot of critters out there that can do you harm real quick.
Sure.
And you get so far out there and there's no cell service and you're in trouble. And so it's always good to have somebody go out there with you, just for backup, just in case something happens, you got somebody that can get help or help you. So
it's also a good idea to have somebody with you in case anything does pop off, to have somebody else be able to, verify it and, talk about it with and everything. I mean, 100% on the not going out by yourself, especially at night in the swamp. Yeah, I get that. That's so how did the first experience happen? Like, walk us through it.
Well, it was in 2005, and I had reconnected with a guy I was stationed with in the Navy, and we got to talking, and he was into hunting and stuff like that. And he's like, "Hey, let's get together. Let's go scout this area that people hunt." He goes, "I've been out there a lot. It's really nice. We'll go out there." So we planned it, and I drove, and it's a good 2-hour drive to get to him. So I drive all the way there, and I get to his house, and it's been so long. I don't remember the reason why all of a sudden he couldn't go. It was either, I can't remember if his work had called and said he needed to come in, or his wife said no, she had things for him to do. I can't remember right off the bat. But anyhow, in our conversation, he's like, "Look, this area you pass on the way here." So back then we didn't have Google Maps and all that. So we had a regular paper map. He showed me on the highway I came in where it was at. And I said, "Oh yeah, I remember that." So I figured I'd stop on the way back home. So on the way back home, I find a way in, and I get into the woods, and I'm driving back there. It's a one of those just shell roads, just those white shell roads. And I drove down that road for quite some time, 20, 30 minutes just riding down that road. And then I saw this not a game show. It was probably more of an old fire break, you know, but it was a big trailhead on my right-hand side. So I pulled over and I said, well, I'm going to walk that and see what I see. And like I said, my whole mentality, I was looking for deer. I'm looking for signs of deer, areas of bedding, you know, anything that would tell me this is probably the area we want to come and hunt, you know? Right. And so I'm walking down. I probably walked about a half a mile down that trail. And then there was this berm, like you know, four-wheelers make that big berm and they take turns, you know, and they start pushing that dirt up and it creates that berm. That's what it looked like, but it wasn't from four-wheelers, but that's what it looked like. That's what it reminded me of. And it was only about 4 feet high. So I figured, well, I'll climb to the top of it, give me a better look. So I got up at the top of this berm. I'm looking around, got my binoculars. I'm just glassing the area. And I look down and there's this really, really nice, very well-worn game trail that ran right at the other side of that berm. So I climbed down that berm and decided to take that trail. So I go another, it felt like at least another half a mile walking that trail. And I got to where I was going through a pine forest. And then when I came out of the pine forest, it was an open field of palmettos, sparse trees, very little trees, but lots of palmettos. And they're all about waist high. You know, it wasn't the real giant ones. It was just about waist high. And on the other side was the pine forest again. So it's about 100 yards, I want to say, across this field. So I decided to zigzag through the palmettos and get to the other side, to the palmetto, back to the pine forest. So the whole time I'm walking, I'm looking down the whole time because I'm looking out for rattlesnakes and I'm looking for deer tracks. And am I going to see buck prints or am I going to see doe prints? So my mind was focused on that. My whole mind, I was daydreaming in a sense, just completely focused on what I was doing. And I got about halfway across that field. And then out of nowhere, like almost like a grenade blast. It was just this loud rah, you know, and it was just unbelievably loud. How it just, I can never describe to anybody how loud this yell was. It sounded like it was right there in my face. And it lasted like that fast. It was just like a whip, just wah, you know. As fast as it happened, I looked up and turned around. That fast, turned around. And I started walking out. Fear set in really, really, really bad. I mean, I was scared to death. You know, my heart was racing, adrenaline's pumping. I was really, really, really scared. And I had no qualms about telling people I was scared. To this day, if I get spooked, I tell people all the time, I just got spooked. I have no issues telling people how I feel at that moment. At that moment, I was deathly afraid. I mean, I was scared. So I started beelining it straight out. No more zigzagging. I was stepping over bushes. I was going straight back the direction I came from. And as I'm going out, I heard these thumps, like I describe it as sandbags being dropped on the ground. Just this real dull thump. And I heard it on my right-hand side about 5 o'clock, and I heard it on my left-hand side about 7 o'clock. And I just kept hearing it. And the whole time in my mind, I'm saying, don't turn around, don't turn around, don't look, just keep going. Don't run. If you run, it'll kill you. Whatever it is, it'll kill you if you run. You know, because as a hunter, we know if we come across a bear or a panther or anything like that, we're not to make eye contact with it, but you're not going to run. You're not going to, you know, run from it and become a running toy that it wants to capture. So that's the only thing that kept going through my mind is don't run, don't run, don't run. Just keep going. And by the time I got back into the pine forest that I just left, I didn't hear the thumping anymore. At least I don't remember hearing the thumping anymore. But I was beelining it. I wasn't following that trail anymore. I was breaking brush. I was just trying to get out of there as fast as I could. Finally got back to the main road, and I looked to my right, and my truck was probably 300-400 yards to my right-hand side. So at that point, started running to the truck, got in the truck, spun it around, left, never went back. Didn't even, to this day, I've never called my buddy again either. Done. that whole day changed everything. I don't want to have anything to do with what happened that day. I had nothing. I was done. And after that, I had a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of nightmares, a lot of replaying it in my mind. What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? And that's, like I said, then years later, like I said, I got in contact with Kerry Arnold. They were doing the 160, doing the 168, the first one. And he did a show and he was like, if anybody wants to hit me up, this is my email, blah, blah, blah. So I sent a real simple email saying that, look, I don't know where you're going in Florida. But if the opportunity arises, this is where you should go. You know what I mean? This is right here. You need to go here. And literally 5 minutes later, I get an email back from him. He goes, what's your number? So I say my number. He called me immediately.
Yeah.
First words out of his mouth were not, hi, how you doing? Hey, this is Kerry. It was, how do you know about that place? That's when I got into what had happened to me. And that's when he said, that's where we're doing the 168 at. So it kind of all came full circle. At that point, he invited me to come out, but it was short notice, and due to work, I couldn't get the time off or anything like that. But he definitely put me on a team and ready for the second one. I'm sorry that never did get to happen, because he was a good guy. So
yes, he was.
But like I said, lucky enough to have gotten to meet him quite a few times and go in the woods with him. But he hooked me up with some great people, some great guys, and we go out and we hit the woods. And those guys are a little bit more fearless than I am, and maybe it's the age, or maybe it's because of my encounter, but I'm more, I don't think that's a good idea. You know what I mean? These guys want to go in the woods, go in the swamps at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, no, I think it's best if we were stayed at the camp and run thermals, and see what comes to us, but we have a great time. Those guys are awesome. I'd go to bat for them any day of the week. We just had an expedition last October where we teamed up with Sasquatch Encounter Brigade. They came down for 3 days and we took them out there to the same area. There is a video. I encourage anybody to go listen to this video. It's very interesting. It was our last night there. It was, late that evening, and we just got out of the woods. We were tired, hungry. Jim had gone to his tent. Bobby had gone to his tent, and I stayed up with Johnny and Lloyd, and we were just sitting there talking at the picnic tables, warming up food and just shooting a breeze. And all of a sudden we got these growls, deep guttural growls. It got us up on our feet real quick. And I had the wherewithal to immediately turn on my headlamp and turn on my phone. And because most of our stuff was dead. We had been out, all of our thermals and everything else. We had been out all night. So the batteries are pretty shot in those. But I was ready to go with my phone. And if you go and look in the video, it was day 5 of that expedition. I think I titled it, We Were Surrounded, because it was coming from multiple directions. Jimmy's tent was a good, I want to say, about 100 yards away from us. And he had the same thing going on by his tent. Now, as a group, and we all sat and we discussed it, we don't know if it was alligators. We don't know if it was Sasquatch. All we know is we didn't see alligators and we didn't see Sasquatch. So all we know is there was multiple growls coming out of the woods around our camping area, and they actually moved and circled around us. I've got it all on audio. It's all on the video. And that was the first time I honestly, to be honest with you, guns were drawn. I mean, we had no idea what this was, or what was going to happen next. We could hear branches breaking, twigs breaking. In one of the videos, I've got snapshots of this. Jim had gone back and just went through the video very slowly, and he found possible eye shine, which is, it's, when you look at it, it's pretty creepy. It's just an interesting night. So we kind of racked it up as in, could be alligators. We don't know. We don't know, but it was an exciting evening. Very, very exciting evening. But
hey, Rick, I'm not from Florida, and I don't have any experience with gators. And I know that gators will growl at you.
They will bellow.
But do they come in packs and surround you and growl at you?
Well, I think that's where, as a guys, and trust me, I respect these guys and love hearing their opinions. And we each have our own opinion on that night. I'm the type to ask questions. I'm going to ask questions. And then I started researching and looking and trying to figure out, okay, if it's an alligator, I need to start learning alligator behavior. Okay. So I look it up, and now this is in October. Alligators bellow in June, July, and August. Okay. Now this is late October, October 19th, the weekend of October 19th. So we're past the mating area, the aggressive area, where you have those opportunities to hear them bellow. Okay. As an avid fisherman, I've been around a lot of gators, a lot of them. And I've heard them bellow, but they've always bellowed on the water or right by the water. They're always by the water. When I measured it on Google Earth, we were 672 yards from the nearest water source. And it was pretty thick. You couldn't walk from the campground to the water. You had to go a complete circle around through a gate and then up a road to get to that water source. We did go to that water source the very first night. We saw one alligator, maybe a 5-footer at best, in that water, one. And we were there at nighttime. So we were running spotlights on that water, and there was no eye shine. There was only one gator in that water. So I'm like, wow, if there's 4, at least I'm thinking 3 to 4 other gators, because you have one at Jimmy's tent, and then we have it. I'm estimating we had 3 by us. That's awfully coincidental that all of a sudden all these gators decided to come there. I just felt it. Now, I'm not saying it's not gators. I don't want anybody. I never claim one thing or the other. I leave that up to the people that watch the video, and they come to the conclusion that whatever they think it is. But it was a bellow where it didn't stop. It was like when it growled, it was like it wouldn't stop. See what I'm saying? And I remember mentioning that while I was there. It's like it just wouldn't stop. Where usually when a gator bellows, he bellows, and then there's a pause. And then he'll bellow again because he's going to take a deep breath of air, and then he's going to bellow again. So it was just little things that I felt odd, that just didn't feel right to me. And even in the video, I'm the one yelling, "That's not a gator." See what I'm saying? Johnny openly admits, he's like, "I've never heard one, so I don't know." You know what I mean? But it was just a weird evening. We've kind of racked it up as possible gators. Don't know. But I'm not going to lie. When I was sent the photos of the eye shine, it gave me the chills. It definitely gave me the chills. So
where was the eye shine? How high off the ground?
It was taller than I am. It was taller than I am. I'm 5'10". And now I'm running a headlamp. So the headlamp's actually pointed at an angle downward. It's not pointing straight out. And it was above the light. See what I'm saying? So it caught the eye shine. I mean, kudos to Jimmy. To find that, if you watch the video, you'd find it very difficult to find it. And he found it. And I thought that was amazing how he went through that footage piece by piece, frame by frame, zooming in to see if there was anything that we're not seeing from face level. And he found that eye shine. I thought it was pretty impressive, you know. Now the eye shine could be anything. It could be anything. But it's definitely, you know, you put it all together, it's a creepy time when you put it all together. Eyes shine, the growls, you're surrounded. We've been there since Friday. This is, you know, going into the Sunday. We're all leaving Sunday morning, and nothing happened before. It was just all of a sudden now we have all this activity, and it happened all at once. I mean, literally all at once when we came back there. You kind of throw little things in there. Like I said, you know, even Johnny brought it up. He's like, it's kind of weird that we feel that there's 3 of them. There was like one, like at my 10 o'clock, one at 12, and one at 1 o'clock. And they were moving. You could hear the branches breaking. And then you've got Jimmy down here with one over there. Well, that's strategic. That's almost strategic. There's 3 men here, and you got 3 here. You got 1 man there, and there's 1 there. See what I'm saying?
Do gators break branches?
I've never been around one that's actually going through the woods. You know what I mean? And stuff. Now I know earlier, like the day before video, or maybe it was the earlier that day video, because I was trying to put out videos. You know, I was trying to do a video every day. So the first day I went off and broke off by myself in an area that I felt comfortable in by myself and familiar with. And when I went back there, I saw something moving, and I debunked it. It was a palm frond, but from 100 yards away, it was swaying back and forth. It looked like somebody was moving. So I kind of focused on that. But at one point in that video, I turned the camera to my left and I say something as in, I just heard something move over here. Okay. And I'm looking there for a minute, and it seemed like it was really close to me, but I didn't see anything. So I went back to filming this palmetto that was swaying in the wind. When I got back to the tent, I went back and I was able to review it and zoom in and do all the things I could do to it. I realized it was nothing, no big deal. And I even say it in the video, it was nothing. I debunked it. It's a palmetto bush. But it wasn't until after the incident with the growls that where I heard movement, that was in the area where the 3rd one that I heard was at, back in that area. Now, with that said, I don't know the names. Jim knows the names, and they are names that you guys would be familiar with. But there were 2 researchers there in the past at that same location and had a Class A sighting in exactly that area. Walked right out of that area that I walked into. They had a Class A sighting. So they're there. We know they're there. There's a lot of sightings in that area. It's huge. It's 90,000 acres. So they have a lot of room to move and a lot of things to do. I think what hurt us the most was the weekend that we chose to go out there, and it was only due to everybody's schedule. It was opening hunting season, and it was black powder. Now I gotta admit, the whole weekend we did not hear 1 gunshot, not 1. But it was opening day of black powder.
Did you see hunters down in there while you were in there?
Absolutely. We saw quite a few hunters. I actually stopped and talked to this little old man. I don't know if you ever seen that guy on the History Channel, Popcorn. He made moonshine. You know,
Yeah.
They're a little skinny guy with a big beard, you know. And this guy reminded me of Popcorn. And I was sitting there, and I went up to talk to him. And his job, he's 82 years old, and his job was to check in the hunters as they came in. And we got to talking and stuff like that. And he said he didn't know how many hunters are out there. He goes, but that weekend there were, I think he said 65 passes that were issued. Because you have to, even for us, we have to get a pass to camp out there. You have to let them know you're going to be out there in advance. But yeah, we saw them. Nothing. It's cordoned off. The hunters can't go where we're going. See what I'm saying? So we're pretty safe. We're not going to get shot or anything like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, they have posted signs, no hunting past beyond this point and stuff like that. So, but it's 90,000 acres. So
Ray said Popcorn Sutton.
Yeah, that's him. This little old man, his name was Dwayne. His name was Dwayne. And he was just a little old man. And as we were sitting there talking, and he's looking at me, I got this big buck knife on my side. And he goes, "Hey, let me sharpen that for you." And so he sat there in his chair and he's sharpening my knife for me, you know. And he had this, you know, there's things that you use, you know, mechanics use to sharpen stuff. One end's bristled and the other one's like a rock.
Yeah.
You know, two wheels that spin, whatever you call that thing. He had one of those, but the things were made out of wood. The blades were wood, and that's what he used to sharpen knives on. Was these, and they were. He said they were 45 years old.
He was probably putting a polishing compound on them.
Yeah,
on buffers. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. But we sat there and talked for a long time, and we got into the subject of. I don't usually openly when we're out there tell him what we're out there doing because I don't want to draw attention to ourselves. But another researcher had pulled up that I knew who he was, and so I walked over and talked to him. And once that conversation started between me and the other researcher, this guy kind of looked at us, and then when we sat back down, he told me, he looked right at me and he said, "I'm a believer." And he left it at that. So
you didn't badger him? I'd have been like, "Dude, you got to tell me."
No. He didn't. You got that attitude. He really didn't want to go into it, but he definitely told me. He says, "I'm a believer." He been in these woods his whole life. He's from here, and he said, "Oh, I'm a believer. I'm a believer." So that's all I needed to hear.
Let me ask you a question. And first of all, let me say I commend you very much for saying, "Hey, you're going to put out there, this is what happened to me. You guys can make up your own mind," not saying one way or another what it is, because there is way too much of that stuff in the Bigfoot world.
I don't claim anything.
Well, that's fine. But I will say, like, if I was in that situation, just thinking about what you just said, if you're talking about you're 600-700 yards away from a water source, it's not the time of year where gators bellow or growl like that. You're kind of surrounded by them. You know, there's like one of them for one of y'all. You're seeing eye shine. It's up high. You know, I do feel comfortable saying, like, in stuff like that, like, if I was in that situation, I would say, "Hey, you know, I can't prove that it's a booger, but in my opinion, you know, high likelihood that that's what it was." But more pointedly, though, whenever you talked about that very first experience that you had, where you had the yell or growl, and it just instantly I need to get the hell out of here, kicked in. When these things were growling at y'all while you were surrounded, did you have the same kind of feeling?
I wasn't scared. I had some anxiety, but I knew I was with two other guys, Lloyd and Johnny, and I knew Jimmy and Bobby were there too, but I trust these men. So okay. I didn't feel that fear. I just felt anxiety. I was definitely feeling some anxiety because of my first encounter. I'm very, very, what's the word? Maybe sensitive towards vocals. Okay, that seems to the thing I will focus on more, or listen more, or pay attention to people more when they want to talk about vocals, because that was my biggest fear. That's what happened to me. So I'm kind of drawn to that, you know, more than footprints and arches and structures and different things like that, which there's plenty of. So the vocals is what really hits home to me, you know. And that night, I mean, I was getting vocals. I was definitely getting vocals. But I like I said, we all agreed that we can't prove it one way or another. So right. There's not one of us is going to claim one way or another. You know, we put it out there. We say, okay, look, I think I'm the only one who did a video on it and actually put it out there. Only because when I do my videos, and my channel is very simple, and it's new. I've only been doing it for 10 or 11 months. And if you go back to the first videos, to the recent videos, you see my progression of growth in YouTube and what I'm learning. But
Good for you. We have regressed. We're regressing as we speak, but good for you. Keep progressing.
I'm trying. And but I tell people, and I talk to my audience, and I let them know this is interesting. This is Mother Nature could have done this, but all I'm saying is this is very interesting. You know. Right. But I tell them all the time, I'm bringing them along for the ride. I'm going out there, and I'm just documenting that day. I may get something, I may not get something. And that's squatching, period. See what I'm saying? You can go out. I've gone out numerous times and nothing, just nothing.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And, you know, and this brings up a great point. And I want to do, I don't know how many people are watching right now.
But 57.
But here's, people ask, you know, because what they want from us, you, me, and anybody else that goes out there, they want that video evidence. They want to see this thing. Well, so do we. Trust me, so do we. I'm upset every time I go home empty-handed that I didn't see this thing. Okay, but that's okay. I'm going to do a real quick mathematical equation for you. Very simple mathematical equation that anybody in the audience can do to realize why it's so hard to see one. Okay, so I was sitting there thinking one day, this is what I came up with. We have approximately 350 million Americans in the United States. 350 million. I think it's more than that, but I'm rounding the number to an easy number. Okay, let's eliminate the population and drop it to 0.5%. I just killed off 99.5% of the American population. Okay. That still leaves 1,750,000 Americans. Now I'm only talking lower 48 states. So now you've got 1.75 million people left. And you think, wow, that's a lot of people. Well, let's look at that. And I wrote it down so I would remember. Divide that number into the 48 states, not counting Alaska and Hawaii. That leaves 6,458 people per state. Per state. Okay, now I'm in Florida. You take that, and then I said, well, how many counties are in the United States? 3,143 counties in lower 48. Then you take those same, well, what I say, 6,458 people per county, two people per county. That's all you get. My county is over 1,000, it's 1,017 square miles for two people. What are the chances I'm going to run into that other guy?
Right.
What are the chances in 1,000 square miles? I'm busy trying to hunt, cook, fish, whatever I need to do to survive. What are my chances I'm running into that guy? You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You take that population, when I knocked it down to 0.5%, and that was 1,750,000 Americans, there's not 1.75 million Sasquatches in the United States. There just can't be that many. See what I'm saying? I think it's a high number, but 1.75 million, that's a lot. But even if it was that many, 2 per county, dude, 2 per county, you know? So,
I mean, I see what you're saying mathematically, and I like where you're going with that line of thought. But back to the point, the way that you started it with you going out there and, you know, a lot of times nothing happens. The reason people like watching YouTube channels like yours is because, like what you said, they're going along for the ride. And I think, if nothing else, I think, you know, you turn the cameras on when you go out there. You're going to be out there anyway. You turn the cameras on. Let the people see that. You know, I think at the end of the day, it just makes for a more trustworthy representation of what we do and everything. And I mean, if people don't want to watch a channel because every time they turn on that YouTube video, they're not seeing a a booger or evidence or anything. I mean, in my personal experience, when I see that, I'm like, well, this guy's probably being honest. Whenever I turn on the channels where they go out and every week they find something, I know I'm like, there ain't no way.
There's no way. There's just no way. The numbers don't correlate to you seeing this thing or catching a photo of this thing every single week. It just doesn't. It can't. See what I'm saying? But a lot of people tell me, I can't get out there. I live in the city, or I'm disabled, or I can't get out. I got kids and stuff. That's great. Jump on my shoulders. Let's go. You know what I mean? You can watch my videos, 20, 30 minutes, 35-minute long videos, and go with me, you know?
Hey, Randall, there is a ton of documentation on the Sabine River. Just saying. They're most likely all over that area.
But then you're talking about a creature that he bases his whole life on being elusive.
Yeah, intentionally. Yeah.
So even with the population, you say, okay, well, you narrowed those numbers down, but let's say there's 2 Sasquatch per county, but your county has 2.5 million people. My county just got over 100,000 people. Now you have to add in the fact that this thing does not want to be seen. He's hiding from you. You know what I mean? He goes in areas that he knows he's not going to be bothered. You know? I think a lot.
Oh, you froze up again, Rick. Y'all, is it him or is it me? Somebody say something. Somebody in the chat. Is it Rick or is it me? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Randall. We still going? Yeah, but which one's the man down? Man down. Man down. Which one? Is it him or me? Rick, you're froze up. Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate it. See? Somebody's paying attention. Back to the barbecue rub story. He was doing really good too. I was waiting to hear the other stuff. I want to talk about that track that's behind him. Looks like a copy of the Patty cast. You there?
Yeah, I lost you. You just the same time I did on the screen. So
okay.
I just backed out and came back in. I don't know where I was at, but anyways, that was just one of the things when I sit here, I do a lot of thinking about Sasquatch and what can I do differently, or where can I go and stuff like that. And then I look at the numbers and I read a lot of books. I just got a book today, matter of fact. Can you see it?
Abominable Snowman. Yeah. Isn't that an older one? That's an older book, isn't it?
Yeah, this is from Ivan T. Sanderson.
Yeah,
He's the original cryptozoologist, the original guy in the 1950s that was out there looking for creatures that people couldn't explain. And this was all prior to Bigfoot and stuff like that. So I'm really interested to read his book, see what techniques he used back in the 1950s to, do what he did. It's very interesting.
Well, so other than the time you got yelled at initially and then them surrounding you there in Florida. By the way, whenever you were talking about them surrounding or something surrounding you and growling and everything, did you get any smells?
No smell. No smell. No smell. I have a theory on the smell, and it's just a theory. Like I said, anything I say is just my opinion or my theory. I think they produce it. I think it's either used for 2 reasons. One, to like a skunk, hey, get away from me. I'm gonna give this nasty smell go away. Or it might be a way to call a mate. Maybe it's their aphrodisiac. Say, hey, I'm over here. Can you smell me? but I think it's something they can turn on and off, because I'm not saying it's a gorilla, but what I'm saying is gorillas have that ability as well. They have these areas on their body that they can secrete this odor, and they do it for mating. Yeah, they do that for mating and stuff like that. So if they have some kind of background as far as being a primate or something like that, it would not be far-fetched that maybe they use that same thing, because smell travels very far. Deer smell us from a mile away, bears smell us from a mile away. So smell would not be too far-fetched as a way of saying, hey, I'm over here and I'm looking for a mate, or a way of saying, hey, get out of my area, I don't like you, and they give off this smell, start shaking trees or whatever, maybe do a bluff charge, whatever, but they just want you to get out of there. So that's my theory on Mel. I did know something went out. It passed by about half an hour before, and I back. I got this musky smell, but to me, it wasn't anything that I've ever been told that was a Sasquatch. It was just a very musky, like that, that one person you've been around that you want to tell them, hey, you need to start wearing deodorant. It was just that very musky, bad body odor smell, but like a damp dish rag that's been, or a sponge that hasn't washed, it's just that mildewy, musky smell. I don't know what it was. Somebody told me hogs also have a scent. So maybe it could have been a hog in an area that I smelt. Don't know. I did stop. I was filming, and I just stopped, and I said, I smell something. That smells rancid, And I stayed for a moment. I looked around. I tried to listen for something. a moment prior to the smell, I did hear something break brush to my left, but it could have been a hog, or it could have been a deer. I never saw what it was that broke brush. So it ran a short distance and stopped, which is common in deer, common in different animals that you run out there. They get out of there and then they stop and freeze. So I don't know, but I didn't smell anything either time. Now I've had two, I don't know what they were, but I've had two very, very arm's length encounters, and I smelled nothing at those either. I didn't smell anything. So, and I'm going back to that location this weekend, matter of fact.
Well, let's talk about that. Two arm length encounters. What happened?
Well, what happened was I went camping. It was Christmas weekend. I camp on Christmas. I know it's weird. I'll get bashed for it, but when you don't have family, it's just you do something. So I go camping on Christmas. And last year in Florida, where I'm at, it was 29 degrees that entire weekend. It was cold. So first day I got there, set up camp and everything, blah, blah, blah. And I went for a hike. No, maybe it was the next morning. I'd have to look at the video, but I went for a hike regardless. And I got to this one area where there was two water sources on each side of the trail. And I just stood there for a moment and said, you know what? I'm going to try a call. I don't do calls and I don't do wood knocks, but I'm going to try doing a call. So I did a call that was more gorilla, like a whoo, whoo, as loud as I could. And I sat there for, 5-10 minutes just waiting, and nothing happened. So I went ahead and did my walk. Then I got hungry, want to go back to camp, make me something to eat. So I come back, that exact spot where I made that call, couldn't mistake it because of the two water sources, was a palmetto frond that looked like it was just ripped out of the ground and was laying in the middle of the trail. Really? It's impossible to rip those out. You cannot rip those out of the ground. I even have a video I just put out not too long ago where a buddy of ours, Dan, was with us. Dan, I forget now, he's like 230 pounds, 6'2", grabbed hold of one and tried with all his might and could not pull that palmetto frond out of the ground. But this one was right there in the middle of it, right where I just walked half an hour prior. So I go back to camp, make myself something to eat. It's starting to get dark, so I said, well, I'm going to relax and stay around the camp. So I don't keep track of time, so I can only tell you what it felt like. But it felt like 11 o'clock at night. And I went to bed, and it's freezing cold. So I get down to nothing but my long johns, and I get into my sleeping bag and all that, and I hear this weird scream. It happened once, pretty brief, and I couldn't even begin to tell you what it sounded like or reenact it. It was just the weirdest thing I'd ever heard. And so I sat there for a minute to see if it was going to do it again, and I wasn't recording at the time, and it didn't do it again. So I went to bed. So I'm sleeping. Now I want to say it was probably 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was late, and I'm laying in bed, and because it was cold, I put the fly on the top of my tent to keep the cold air out. And what woke me up was something was rubbing the top of my tent, and it was walking around the foot of my tent all the way around to the door, and then it would walk back the whole time, and it's rubbing the top. And rubbing a tent makes a very distinct sound, that vinyl sound. And I'm sitting there looking straight up, and I can hear this thing rubbing it as it's walking around. So now adrenaline's pumping. I'm wide awake. And I reach over and I get my flashlight, and I got a flashlight that'll light up the moon. So I get my flashlight, I get my phone, I've got it ready to record, and I've got 2 fingers on the zipper to get out of the tent. So as I'm sitting there on my knees, because this tent's about 5 feet tall, so whatever it was tall enough to rub the top of the tent. And all of a sudden I heard my cooler just start walking away. And it was distinctive. Somebody's walking with my cooler. You can hear it, shh, 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 when you're walking and everything's slushing inside.
Yeah.
I hear that as somebody's walking away with my cooler. So I freak out now, like that's all the supplies I have for the weekend. If that's gone, my trip is done. So I unzip that thing really fast, and I jump out of the tent in nothing but my long johns, and there's nothing there. There's nothing anywhere. I'm shining everywhere in the forest. I see the cooler. It's about 25 feet away from my tent, laying on its side. And I'm shining, and then fear sets in, like, what if this thing's up in the trees? So now I'm shining up in the trees, I walk in the woods around my tent to see if I spook anything. Nothing. I never heard a noise. Never heard it run. Never heard it gallop. Nothing. No noise whatsoever. One moment it's there. Next minute, it's gone. It dropped my cooler and it was gone. It knew I was coming out that tent at that moment, and it took off. Where it went, I don't know. So I went and got the cooler. I put it in my truck and shut and locked my truck. And then I went back into the tent. I set up the recorder and everything in case it came back, and went to bed. Got up the next morning, went through the recorder. There was nothing. I didn't catch anything. And it's my voice recorder on my phone, so it has a line so I can be able to see when there was a noise, and it was mostly me snoring. So I went back and I walked outside in the daylight, and I found no tracks, but there was a lot of leaf litter, so it didn't surprise me too much. So I went to get the cooler, and at the top of the cooler, there is a serious gouge from either a claw, a fingernail, whatever, right down the side of the handle, right down the side. It was a brand new cooler. I had just bought that cooler for this trip, and there's this deep gouge and some other smaller scratches by the gouge, but really one deep one that went right down the side of the cooler. So that thing was right outside the tent from me. So a couple months later, I think it was, I want to say that was December. I think it was February. I go back. I get the exact same spot. I'm camping. I set everything up the exact same way. So this time I brought my dog with me. And my dog is really good, very quiet. Doesn't bark, doesn't do anything. He just loves. That's all he does. That's all he knows. He doesn't growl. He doesn't bother nobody. Very, very well-behaved dog. So I took him with me. He's never been camping with me, and he was doing wonderful. That night we go to sleep, and I brought his bed with him, so he's got something familiar with. So he's sleeping at my feet, and I'm back in bed. It's warmer temperatures now, so now I don't have the fly. So now I have a 360, all I got to do is sit up, and I have 360-degree view everywhere. So we're sleeping, and what wakes me up is my dog growling. and he never growls. I've had this dog for years. He has never growled one time, ever. Not at other dogs, not at kids, nothing. And he's just steady, just this low growl. And I'm looking down at my dog, and he's looking at the window that's right beside me. So I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm watching his eyes, and I decide, well, I'm going to sit up and look out the window. So I sit up in my bed, and I turn my head to look out the window. Now, the window's like right here. I mean, I can rub it with my hand. And I see something on the other side looking at me. And I can't make out what it is. All I see is a dark figure. There's a dark figure looking at me through my window, just sitting there looking at me. I don't hear anything. I don't hear it breathing. It's just sitting there looking at me. And I can tell there is something there. So I reach down and I get my flashlight. And this is where I screwed up. I'm thinking, I'm going to take this flashlight. I'm going to blast this thing right in the face. I'm about to see what this is. What I failed to think about was when I turn that flashlight on and it hits that, even though it's a mesh window, you can't see anything. That light shines right back at you.
It reflects.
I thought on the walls, yeah, but not right. It was horrible. I was blinded the second I hit that light. I was blinded, and whatever was there shoved my tent and took off. I literally saw the side of the tent push in, and it took off. Don't know what it is. Don't know to this day. Don't know what it was. You know, could have been a bear, could have been a panther. I don't know, but all I know what it was interested in what was going on in that tent. And it was quiet. It just sat there. It didn't, to me, it was kind of like, I tell people, when I look at the silhouette of it and what I can picture it, whatever it was like sitting down, like kneeling. But, you know, like a gargoyle. You ever seen the gargoyles where they squat like they're taking a dump? That's what it reminded me of. That's what this thing was doing. It was like squatting down. It was just looking at me. It didn't touch anything. It didn't take anything. But this time I secured everything in my truck. But it didn't touch the tent until I shined that flashlight, and it shoved the whole tent. My dog jumped 3 feet in the air, jumped behind me. I brought the dog to be my savior, and here I am trying to protect my dog, you know? And to this day, don't know what it was. Have no idea what it was. But I am going back there this weekend. I will be camping out there this weekend.
All right.
Yeah, it's Christmas. It's Christmas weekend, and I'll be going out there again. And I won't be in the exact same spot. I chose to go about a half a mile away to another area. And the only reason I did that is because on Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving, there were 2 Class A sightings reported in the Bigfoot mapping project from that location. So I want to put myself over there in that area this time.
Yeah. Whenever you shined the light and it shoved the tent and ran away, afterwards, did you go out and were you able to see anything on the tent, anything on the ground?
Nothing.
What was the moon phase?
Oh, I don't remember, to be honest. It was dark. I don't think it was. You know, I know it wasn't a full moon. That I know. It was not a full moon.
Okay, so
it was dark out.
A lot of light.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of light. You can see. There's a picture. I have it in my phone where I was sitting in bed and I took a photograph, just looking straight up out of the window above the tent, and it was just a beautiful picture. Just where you see it's a dark sky, but it's not black. It's, you know, like a super dark blue, and you can still see trees, the silhouettes of trees. It's just I thought it was a really neat picture, so I took that photograph because when I'm out there, I also take a lot of nature photographs. But anyhow, I took that photograph, and I can show you that was the same night. So it was not dark, but it wasn't. I don't think there was I don't remember a moon at all. You know what I mean? At all. But it wasn't. I mean, I couldn't see my truck, and my truck was probably 20 yards from the tent, maybe 15 yards from the tent. And if I looked out the tent, I could not see my truck. See what I'm saying? But if you were at my truck and walking towards the tent, as you got closer, I would be able to make you out. Okay, there's somebody walking up to my tent. I probably wouldn't be able to tell you that you have a beard or a mustache or anything like that. I can just say, okay, there's somebody right there and he's walking towards my tent. That's probably as close as I can get to it. And like I said, this thing, if there was no tent there, I could have reached out and touched his forehead. That's how close it was, because it was like right at the window looking in, you know. So what I'm planning on doing this time is I bought a bunch of chem lights, you know, the ones you snap and shake.
Yep.
I'm gonna, just before I go to bed, I'm gonna put those around in the camping in my camping area. So now there's a back glow. So if anything does walk in, it has a back glow. I don't need to turn on my flashlight now. I can see out. See what I'm saying? So I'm going to strategically put those this time outside the tent, you know, on a tree here, on a bush here, whatever, you know what I mean? To try to give me some glow so I don't have to do the same mistake I made last time with the flashlight. And hopefully something happens and something does enter my camp.
What did you cook for dinner that night?
Hot dogs. That's all I eat when I'm out there. I ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hot dogs.
You know, I mean, my mind naturally goes to, you said it was in February, right?
The second time was February. Yeah.
Right. The first time was in, did you say December?
Yeah, it was Christmas weekend.
Yeah, so you're at the time of year where there's not a lot of natural vegetation as far as food sources go. You know, so it would make you think, you know, a lot of the reports that you hear about them stealing livestock and animal feed and all that kind of stuff is typically in the winter months whenever there's not natural vegetation.
It was definitely opportunistic.
Can you think of any reason, like whenever you were driving down in there, were you one of the only persons down in there?
Yeah. I chose that weekend, not just mostly because it was Christmas, because who goes camping on Christmas? Everybody's with their families. Everybody's visiting somebody. Everybody's somewhere. And I was like, that's the weekend I want to go because there's not going to be anybody there. Now, I was surprised that there were some campers, you know what I mean? But we were not on top of each other by no means. So I felt pretty confident where I was at, that I was not going to be bothered. I wasn't going to bother them and they weren't going to bother me. If they were outside of their tents or whatever talking, they were far enough I couldn't hear their conversation. I could see them, but I couldn't hear their conversation. So that was pretty safe there. And it was older people, you know what I mean? You know, like more senior citizen, you know, level, you know, that it wasn't young people. It was older people there. So it was pretty quiet. That's why I want to go back. So I did check. And as it stands right now, the last time I checked, the area that I'm going camping at now, I'm the only one in that area. You know, the
only thing on the menu. All right.
Only camper there. Now that could change. You know, there's 16 camping areas in that location. When I set up the dates that I wanted to be there, it showed there was one other. But when I went in there to do some research and I talked to one of the guys in the office, he said, I told him I just wanted to confirm my dates. And he said, yeah, you're the only one. I guess the other one's, you know, canceled out or whatever. He said, but you're the only one that's going to be out there.
With the scratches on the cooler, and I freaking hate to bring this up. If Misty was on here, she'd jump right on this. With the scratches on the cooler, I mean, boogers aren't known to leave claw mark type scratch things. I don't really want to talk about this, but
don't say dogman.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what my mind jumps to.
I tried to believe that does not exist. I tried. That one right there scares the crap out of me. I go out there thinking there ain't no dog man, but in my mind, like, watch out for the dog man.
Yeah.
No, to me, I would assume they have nails. Sasquatch has fingernails. People have People have described them and stuff like that. I'm sure as they grow, they break because they're grabbing things and doing things. They break off and stuff. It could have been a hangnail. I don't know. I'd have to send you the picture of it, but that scratch is about 3 inches long.
Dude,
and
tell yourself whatever you got to. I would too.
Oh,
I'd be like, nope.
I will.
Nope.
I'm not going that direction, man, because that bothers the crap out of me. I was like, oh man, I'm just getting over. My plate is already full with Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a side of Dogman on there. So
yeah, hey, I feel you on that.
But I had people say, "Do you think it was raccoons?" And the only thing that tells me it wasn't a raccoon was this cooler had a 10-pound bag of ice in it. Okay, I had a 6-pack of root beer soda. I had the 18-pack or whatever, the big pack of hot dogs, and mustard, ketchup, all the condiments and stuff like that. And there might have been a couple of small things there, maybe some candy bars or whatever. That's pretty heavy for a raccoon to pick up with all that in there. Like I said,
it's impossible for a raccoon to pick up.
And I heard it sloshing. And then somebody said, well, it could be a bear. Quite possibly, because we do have bears out there. But a bear would, I would say, grab it and drag it or rip it open right then and there to get whatever it wants.
Yes.
It doesn't take something and go hide somewhere and now let's decide to eat. It usually wants to eat right now.
They can pick up stuff, but I mean, I've grown up with bear. We have a ton of bear, and normally they're gonna knock it. They're not gonna carry it. They're gonna try to open it right there.
So, like I said, I'm open to suggestions if it could be anything else. Absolutely, you know what I mean. I'm one of the first people to tell you if I could debunk it first, I want to debunk it first. It's because when you debunk something, and when you can't, whatever's left, that evidence that's left, that's when you put those pieces together and say, okay, what other possibilities do we have here? You know what I mean? So that's where I stood on that, that, okay, I don't know what it was. I can't say it was a skunk ape because I didn't see it. I have to see it. And if I see it, one day I'm going to be on here, Spence, and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to go, I saw it, Spence. Okay?
You do.
Then you know you saw it. But if I'm not sure what took my cooler, I'm not going to say this is what took my cooler. I can't,
Have you, let me ask you this. And I talked to Kerry whenever he was doing the original 168, and I was signed up to do the second one too. He was telling me that the area down there is not really good substrate for tracks and everything.
Yeah.
See, you have a track behind you that looks like the patty, copy of the patty.
That's patty.
Have you found tracks down there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the sad part, and you can let your viewers know. I did send a lot of photos to you, but it didn't work out. So technical issues, technical difficulties. But in that, there are some photos of prints. A couple of them I really like a lot is one right off the bat. Bobby and Jimmy went to Ocala National Forest and got one that's 3-toed, and it's 15 inches.
And that's a good picture. And in fact, y'all, I know this is a horrible way to do it, but you have to understand there's a reason why we couldn't show the pictures tonight. It's a multitude of things, but hold on. That is a really interesting picture. And if I can.
Yeah, it's laying on the tailgate of my truck.
Yeah.
But Bobby and Jimmy got that in Ocala. And the interesting story behind that is there were multiple prints. They could have stayed all day and did nothing but cast prints. And these prints led right up to a structure.
I don't know how clearly y'all can see that, but that's one of Rick's prints right there.
That's Jimmy and Bobby got that one.
Okay, well, Jimmy and Bobby, hey, good capture right there. And then
I have another one I sent. There was a casting, but there's a picture. It's a handprint. We found the footprint, and me and Jimmy started following the footprint. These are really nice footprints, which we think is a possible juvenile. Another researcher had made a comment in the past that same area he had spotted a juvenile. So here we are. The print itself was only about 9 inches long, but it was 4.5 inches wide at the heel. See what I'm saying? That's a huge footprint for a person with a 9-inch foot. See what I'm saying?
Agree.
So that's what drew our attention to it. And we tracked this. We literally found multiple. And then all of a sudden, we found one where it looked like this thing knelt down and touched the ground. There's a handprint, really nice, like its hand went at an angle into the substrate, and you can count fingers. You know?
Is that the one where it's in sand?
Yes. Yes. And there's one where Jimmy's got his hand right beside it. But there's a footprint with a mid-dorsal break and toes, and there's a handprint. So we think it was a juvenile, and at some point it had put its hand down on the ground. It didn't pick anything up. It just kind of like touched the ground and just kept on going.
Are you talking about that one?
Yes,
Rick?
That's the hand. That's the handprint.
I'm sorry, y'all. At some point, maybe what I'll do is I'll go through and take the pictures and create a file and put it on the Woodwalkers Facebook page so that you can see them. But I got to go over some of the stuff with Rick. We had a video lined up. Actually, Misty did it, but some of the stuff that got in there can't be shown. So we had to scrap the video. I hope y'all understand, and we'll come back to it. We'll put it up on the Facebook page or something like that.
And just to be transparent, the photos that came through, I don't know how they got through, but those are photos that people send or they shared with me. I don't have permission to show them, so that I did not want them. When you showed it to me, thank God we did, because if we didn't, I'd be sitting there going, oh boy, because they trust me and I trust them. So I promised that I would not post those, and all of a sudden there they are, and I'm like, whoa. So, and it would be my fault. It would be my fault.
We all have that kind of stuff, and in this field, your level of integrity is everything.
It is.
Being honest, being trustworthy is everything. Nobody wants to undermine that. Speaking of which, hey, pause. Let me say this.
Sure.
Somebody, y'all, so much weird stuff with the computer stuff, with the emails, with StreamYard. Just saying. So some way, somehow, someone had emailed me a couple pictures, and I'm going to say to anybody that will hear this, somebody emailed me pictures, and I cannot for the life of me remember who it was. They emailed me 2 of them. One of them was from a game camera where something set off the game camera in the foreground, but I'm not going to discuss it in detail because I don't want to give it away. And there was something in the background that the game camera captured. Please, if you hear this, would you reach out to me again and resend those? Because that was a great photo. I was trying to hold on to those, and they're just gone. And I don't know what happened, and I can't remember exactly who it was that sent it. But if you did, would you please send those again? Because that was impressive.
Yeah, it's just game cams are a great tool. I think in the day and age that we're in right now with research, it's technology it's a double-edged sword. I'm thankful that we've got stuff like thermals, drones, parabolics. I mean, these are stuff that they didn't have 50 years ago. See what I'm saying? So I'm very thankful that we've got such amazing stuff that we can download on computers now and make files to and share on YouTube. We can get the information out there. But then you have the bad side. You have AI, you have CGI, and it is destroying. Those two things alone are destroying Bigfoot research. It's killing it. I'm not a pro-kill person for one of these things. But what they're doing, what these people are doing when they're hoaxing with CGI and stuff like that and AI, they're forcing the hand that the only evidence that will ever be accepted is a dead body. And that's sad.
Are you sure? Yeah, I'm just carry on. One of my friends, and I can't believe I wouldn't remember that it was him. That blows my mind.
Yeah, yes, it could have been my pictures too. So we'll have to talk about that. But anyways, they're pushing that narrative that the only possible evidence is going to kill one, and that's a sad thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I want to see this protected. I don't want to see it killed. But that's where technology is going. I saw a video earlier. It was a commercial where Joe Rogan was talking about a vitamin or something like that, but you could tell it was not his mouth moving. See what I'm saying? So somebody's taking his likeness but putting his voice to it. See what I'm saying, or something like that. CGI and AI is horrible. It's if it's used in the right way, I could see some positives, but it's not being used in the right way. People are hoaxing left and right. You know it. You have to feed through so much bull crap to get something feasible. It's a lot of time. They don't realize how much time they waste with researchers sending us stuff saying, check this out, check this out, check this out. When as soon as I see it, I can tell it's a artificial intelligence and you've created some horrible background story to justify the picture. See what I'm saying? And it's just ridiculous. And it's, you know, and when I say hoaxers, those are hoaxers. Those guys that are creating these photos and sending them out there are hoaxers. Hoaxers are out there. We've dealt with them from day one, back in the 1950s. The one guy that planted those footprints admitted it was a hoax. They found the wooden footprints in his shed. You know what I mean? So they've always been there. But they were easy to navigate around. Okay? Because he might have hoaxed these over here, but he couldn't have hoaxed these 100 miles away. So there was ways to work around these hoaxes. But they're always going to be there. And you know, there's some that are big name hoaxers. And I don't like saying other researchers' names in a negative light, good or bad, whatever they're doing. That's just not me. Because I think it's a wasted energy because you're not going to change anything. These guys that have put out videos in the past that everybody's like, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. They still have a huge following. So you're not going to make a difference. So why are you wasting your energy on it? See what I'm saying? Move on. Go through the channels. Go look at people and find the ones that you know are telling the truth. Like you said, somebody showing up every week with something, you might want to wonder. See what I'm saying?
Well, that's my opinion. That's been my experience. But
no, I agree with you.
I will say, yeah, the artificial intelligence creations that are coming out now that are flooding Facebook and everything, it's horrible. It's bad for the community. I think a lot of us, you know, laugh at it, you know, because we can tell. But, you know, then again, a lot of it comes down to there are people out there trying to prove that these things exist. And me personally, just totally my own opinion, trying to prove that boogers exist to the whole world,
right, is
where people go wrong. You know, I've often wondered, I was just talking to Squirrel the other night about this, about, you know, so many times that I go out there and I've always got, like, well, most of the time I've got recorders running and cameras going and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I get to the point where I'm like, what if I didn't have any of that going? Because sure as shit, that would be the time
Right.
that something happens, and
It happens
then
all the time.
well, exactly, and
It happens to the best of them.
it almost makes me think, man, is there some way that these things are sensing that you got stuff running and they're like, nope, nope, nope. But whenever you go out there without anything going, and then it's just your word, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of this comes down to trustworthiness at the end of the day, and how big your ego is, and if you can keep it in check. Because a lot of these people, they just want attention. They want to be the man, and they want to get that 30 seconds of fame.
Well, then you've got the other side of it, and I can understand the side of it. And this is a name I will put out there because he's all over the place right now. Everybody knows his videos are fake.
Let's just not.
Okay, don't. But they're really interesting videos. When you first see them, you're like, whoa. Then you realize, oh, okay, I get it now. But they're so good. See what I'm saying? But that's where it's not a hoax. It's entertainment.
Right.
See? Well, now he's doing it for entertainment.
People want to. They want to gobble up this stuff. They do. They want to see the next Patterson-Gimlin film, and I have no problem in that. I really don't. You're feeding the source of the problem whenever everybody is like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You're just making these people go out and do more of it. So I think the Bigfoot community needs to have a little bit more discernment, but that's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, because you can go after this guy, and there's channels that's what they do is they go after the hoaxers. And they say, but it doesn't change anything. You go look at this guy's subscribership, and you got to ask yourself, why is it so high when they know the guy's a fake? Hey, Diane, she's such a sweetheart. But the reason is because it's entertainment. People want to be entertained.
Yeah,
I'll watch those videos and get entertainment out of it. I'll get a chuckle out of it. See what I'm saying? But I'm not going to turn around and pass it on and say, check this out. Here is the next greatest film. No. See what I'm saying?
What? Huh? You got to give me a second here, Rick. Sure. Ray is agreeing with me, which I'm going to take as a compliment. And I find that hard to believe, but I just had to put that up for everybody to see. Now it's recorded on this video. I'll go back and watch it a year from now. Okay, carry on. If you knew Ray, she's a pain in my ass. So just had to put that out there for everybody.
Well, yeah, it's like I said, when I on my channel, I'm going out there regardless of if I have the channel or not.
Right.
But what really created the channel was what we call that crazy factor where things start mechanically acting up. And we had a major, my guys, there was 4 of us there. To this day, we can't explain it. Don't know what happened, but we all had serious issues with our electronics. So originally, YouTube was just a dumping ground for me to have a place to put videos so I wouldn't lose them. See what I'm saying? I know it sounds weird, but I was like, I got to put this somewhere because Google isn't protecting me. My phone, evidently, I can't rely on. You know what I mean? So I had to put them somewhere. Then as time went by, all of a sudden I looked, I go, holy man, I got 25 people that like them. What is up with that? You know what I mean? And so I started putting them out there and then putting them out there and putting them out there and putting them out there. Now I'm like 160 something videos into it. And now I'm getting better. I'm adding a little bit of music and some transition from one location to another. Little things. I'm getting better at it. I'm never going to be Hollywood, but I'm at least want it more appealing because it's the subscribers that tell me this stuff. I bought this gimbal because a subscriber said they got seasick watching my videos. So I bought a gimbal to help out. A lot of them, like there'll be dead air or something like that. I'm just walking. I'm just trying to get to the location where I want to do. So I just filming on the way there. Well, now I'll add music to that, so it's not so boring, me hearing my feet crunch. So I'm getting better at it, you know.
I just started watching your videos not that long ago. You know what would help me get through a lot of your videos is a box of Monte Cristo white labels. If you send those to me, I would be happy to sit there and smoke them while I watch all your videos. Just saying. You're going to go out and buy a gimbal.
I'm all over it. Did you get what I said about when you did the picture with the cigar and it was called Punch? And then you had, and I said, well, if you put it in your mouth, is that a punch in the mouth? You know what I mean? But
that was Punch Classico. Hey, whenever you were talking about the pictures, I don't know if this is something that you want to bring up. Just say no if you don't want to. But what you were telling me before we went live about the pictures on your phone.
Okay, yeah, I was leading into that. No. So what happened was, this is when I started the YouTube channel. I had this crew wanted to come out and do a small little documentary on me and Jim. So the weekend we planned it, Jim couldn't make it. So we went out with just me and them. So we go out to this research area that's, you know, produced quite a really good stuff. I really like the area. It's very creepy place. And long story short, we got a growl. And they're looking at me like, oh man, did you hear that? Now, here I am, the guy that gets scared in the woods. I had to play it off like I'm the big rig searcher, you know? So I'm looking at them like, oh yeah, I've got that recorded. I've heard that before. And in my mind, I'm going, holy crap, did you hear that? You know what I mean? So I told Jim about it. Jim comes the next weekend. The film crew comes back the following weekend. So now there's 4 of us. We go back into that area. And Jim's like, hey, I want to go to the area where y'all heard the growl. Not a problem. So we start heading in that direction. Well, one of the guys, one of the producers of the show was flying a drone. We saw the drone. We hear the drone. He's filming us from above. And which I have a small 1.5-minute snippet of it because they got scared and we never did finish the video. But anyways, we get to that area and it's me, Jim, and this girl that was doing all the, you know, the question and answer stuff. So we get about, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards back into the woods where this area was where we heard the howl or yell or growl, whatever you want to call it. Well, she gets a phone call from the other guy. And he says, hey, where are you guys at? I need to meet up with you guys. Because he was flying the drone. We can hear the drone in the video. If you go back right now and watch the video, you hear the drone. And I'm like, so she's trying to tell him where we're at. And I was like, look, he's never going to find his way back here. You know, right. I mean, this is a city boy from Miami. He doesn't know. So I said, I'll hike back out and get him. So I hike back out to the main trailhead and there's nobody there. So I hear the drone. I'm looking up in the sky. I don't see the drone, but I hear it buzzing really loud. I said, well, I'll just follow the drone. Wherever it's going, he's got to be near it. So I started going down a trail I've never been down before. And I'm thinking he took a wrong turn. He's down this trail. So I got about a couple 100 yards down that trail and I got the EBGBs really bad. And I listened to my EBGBs. I listened. Okay. And I was like, okay, I need to go back. So I turned around and went back where I started from. And he's standing right there, you know? And I told him, and I literally told him, hey man, land the drone because you're not gonna be able to fly it in this pine forest. You're gonna crash it. I said, just land it and we'll walk you back there and blah, blah, blah. He goes, oh no, I got it right here. And he pulled it out of his backpack. But you can still hear this drone in the air. Loud as can be. And I was like, that's not your drone? He's like, no. I said, do you hear that? He goes, yeah, I heard it. So we go back into the woods, we meet up with the other 2 people, and we're sitting there talking about the drone, and you can hear the drone in the video. We never saw it. All we could do is hear it. And we heard it for a long time. I mean, most of the time we were in the woods, we heard that drone. You know, that's when I came home. I had shot some video and some pictures and stuff like that. I get home, I go to look at that stuff to, you know, go ahead and put something together and put it on YouTube. So I go through it and it's gone. There's nothing there. you know? So I grabbed my body cam. I said, well, because I was wearing a body cam. I said, well, let me check the body cam. And then I noticed on the body cam that all the dates and times have been changed on the body cam to pre-manufacturing date, before this thing was ever built. I know when I bought this thing, and there's no way that manufacturing date was 2 years prior to me buying it. Electronics just don't sit on the shelves for 2 years, you know, because they're constantly changing, updating. See what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's strange, you know? So I get the phone out and I go to Google, which is where I put in Google Photos. Nothing there. It's not in my phone file, and it's not in Google Photos. I don't know where it's at. So I'm like, man, I must have brain farted and didn't hit record, you know? So a few days later, maybe a week later, or whatever, it's really bothering me. I said, man, that's got to be somewhere, and I don't want it to happen again, so I got to figure this out. So I said, well, maybe I had too much in my file, and it wouldn't accept anymore. And maybe that was the reason. So I go into Google Photos, and I said, well, I'll scroll all the way down to the very first photos I ever took and start working there and deleting stuff that I don't see anymore or look at anymore, and I'll start getting rid of stuff. I go all the way to the very first photo ever taken, and it's those videos and those pictures I took that day a week before. Right across it, it says December 31st, 1969. There was no Google back then, no internet back then, no phones back then, no cell phones, nothing like that. Why is it put there? I think it was purposely put there so I wouldn't find it. See what I'm saying? The next photo is a picture of me and my brother in 2011. But this was dated, and I can show it to you. If I wasn't on the phone, I'd show it to you right now. But it was December 31st, 1969. Can't figure it out.
That's crazy. I got theories, but that's
anybody who has a Droid knows that when you take a photo or video, it goes straight to your files in your phone. You have a gallery, go there and look at them, and it goes straight to Google Photos. That's where they go. Unless you have, you know, another space that you like to send them to. Those are the two primary places on Androids they go to. I don't choose those dates. I don't choose those. December 31st, 1969 has no significance to me whatsoever. So I wouldn't choose that date for any reason whatsoever. It's just really weird, really weird. Now, that's when I fell out of conspiracy theories, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. And I've had people tell me all these batteries dying, this happening, blah, blah, blah. And I just racked it up like, dude, you're just not paying attention to your equipment. Maybe you didn't charge something. Maybe I just didn't believe in the conspiracy theories until it happens to you.
Yeah.
But now you're scratching your head going, I can't explain this. I can't explain it. Now, what I will say, and this is my opinion and my theory, Bigfoot didn't do it. Bigfoot didn't do it. I think, and this is just my conspiracy theory, my theory is in this location, we were getting a lot of evidence. We were getting vocals. We were leaving recorders out for 3-4 days at a time. We were getting best knocks you've ever heard in your life, best howls you ever heard in your life. We were getting stuff. We found some of the best arches I have ever seen, you know? And I mean, literally, when you got a 30-foot tree and it's bent almost straight up and down, the wind does not do that. It may blow it as a long arch, but not an arch like this. See what I'm saying? Just a straight arch. So we were finding a lot of great stuff. And to me, I felt that having that crew out there filming us put way too much attention on us. And I think the powers that be were like, time out. We got to nix this. Because I'm going to tell you something else that was really strange that happened. Everything changed out there like that. I go out there. Okay, we left recorders out there until the batteries died. Brand new batteries. And as long as those batteries lasted, that's how long that equipment was out there. I go out there to recover the recorders. I go home and I start going through this. But what I noticed when I got there, when I pull up, there's 9 gates to get into this location. They're all about a half a mile from each other, but it's 9 gates. Every one of these gates, which I put in videos, and I still have photos of, there is a sign on the gate that says, this area monitored by cameras 24/7. That's what it says. Don't know why, but they got cameras out there. It's thousands and thousands of acres, but they got cameras out there. But we just ignored it. Okay? Those signs were gone. So first thing I noticed was all the signs were gone. And I'm like, okay, they don't have cameras out here anymore, or they do, and they just don't want us to know it anymore. I don't know. So I go out there, I get the equipment, I come home, and I start reviewing all the audio, which takes days and days and days to go through this audio. All of a sudden, and we have it time-stamped when we go out there, and anybody gets into research, you should do this. When you turn on the recorder, tell the time. First thing you say is, this is so-and-so, time is 1:30 p.m. And leave it at that. Now you have a reference point to go back to as far as time goes. 2, when you leave the area, no matter how far you are, digital recorders, these new ones, they pick up stuff from very, very far away. Honk your horn in your vehicle. I honk it 3 times, and then I go home. Because when I go back and I start recording or I start listening, when I hear those 3 honks, anything after that ain't me. See what I'm saying? I'm out of the area. I'm in my truck heading home. So anything that happens after those 3 honks ain't me. See what I'm saying? Anything before that could have been me hitting a tree. Could have been me breaking a branch. Could be me making a call. So I have to discount that. And anything after that, those horn, is somebody else. So I start reviewing all this, and then about 11 o'clock at night, what made it hard to go through this video is pouring rain. If you ever tried to listen to audio in the pouring rain, it's horrible. That's all you hear is this rain static constantly in your ear. So that's all I'm hearing. And I've got it timestamped perfect. At around 11 o'clock at night, all hell breaks loose. We're talking not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. We're talking hundreds of rounds of ammunition is going off out there. This is a biological research area. Okay? It is a preserve. There's no hunting, fishing, nothing. You're only allowed to hike and bike. You can't camp. You can't make a fire. You can't do anything out there except hike and bike. That is it. But all of a sudden, I'm hearing hundreds of rounds of guns going off. Small arms and rifles. I'm hearing it all. Pow, 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 pow. And this goes on like that. Just on. So I'm like, wow, that is weird. After that, nothing. Every time we went out there, nothing. No noise, no howls, no nothing. It's just quiet. Nothing's going on out there. All of a sudden now, we start seeing animals come back in here. We see deer. I start filming deer and picturing deer. Before, when we were having all the activity and finding all these structures and finding all this stuff, there was no animals there. We didn't find any animals. You know? Now, you go out there, I'm finding animals again. Matter of fact, I just did a video where I have to put a disclaimer, graphic, you know, it's graphic because we found a dead hog and the legs were broken. That was all that was wrong with that hog. I mean, his gut was, you know, where it was opening up, but his legs were broken. There was no bullet holes, no claw marks, no bite marks. Legs were broken. See what I'm saying? So things are starting to pick up. Things are picking up again.
Did you say the guts were intact in the
All
hog?
the guts were intact. All the guts were intact. Nothing was chewed on. Nothing was pulled out. There was a slit in the stomach where you could see the guts, but nothing was missing. The intestines weren't pulled out. Nothing was missing. But the back legs, you could see it clearly. The back legs were broken.
I mean, was the thing like still warm and fresh whenever you got there?
I didn't want to touch it. To be honest with you, I didn't want to touch it.
Well, just,
You know what I mean?
just simply saying, I mean, we all know what broken back legs, if both back legs are broken, we all know what that kind of points to.
Right.
Slit in the stomach, but no other animal had predated on it. So,
No.
I mean, that's interesting in and of itself.
Yeah. And now we're finding really, really good arches again. Some possible, mostly arches. We found there was a trail when we found the hog. Then we told Jimmy about it. Jim drives in. So me, Dan, and Jim go out there. This is 2 weeks later. We go back, and I go to take him to where the hog was. We go to where the hog was, clean. No blood, no hair, no bone, nothing. It's like it was never there. Nothing. On that same trail that we took to find the hog, there was 2 arches over that trail. Like you see at a wedding, the 2 arches, and then they put the flowers on them. 2 of those going right over the trail that were not there 2 weeks prior. We had no storms, no foul weather, no nothing like that, but we had these 2 arches. And I even look at Dan. Dan, this was not here when we were there last time. He told me, no, we walked right through here. Those arches weren't there. I would have noticed arches. Easily would have noticed the arches. So I think things are picking up. So my theory is, and this is just my theory, can't prove it. I think that either whatever was out there was either shot and killed, or it was being scared off. Because I think we were getting too close. All this craziness happened all right at the same time. 2, I'm prior military, and I'm prior law enforcement in corrections. I'm going to tell you one thing we don't do. And Spence, you can call me tomorrow and say, Rick, let's go hunting, let's go shooting. We're not going to do it at 11 o'clock at night in the pouring rain.
Right.
See what I'm saying? We're just not going to do it. I'll say, hey, Spence, let's wait till tomorrow when the weather's nicer. But I'm not going out at 11 o'clock at night, pouring down rain, and ruin my guns, because guns will rust very quickly. So now I got to get home. Let's say I get home 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Now I got to sit up all night and do nothing but clean my stuff.
This is one of the arches, if y'all can see it.
Oh, that's an amazing arch. That's Jimmy standing on the right-hand side, and you can see how tall that arch is. It is huge.
I'm sorry, we'll get his pictures put up, like I said, on the Facebook page.
Yeah, we just have to go through them. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures, because Jimmy's standing there, and you see this whole arch, and the end of it, the top of the tree, is shoved into the ground. That's the only thing holding it down, is it's shoved into the ground.
Yeah, it's unusual. I'm always more impressed whenever they're shoved into the ground and they have like a log or something laying on, like a piece of a log laying on them. To me, like those ones where I'm like, okay, something did that. But
absolutely.
I find a lot of them where they are just shoved into the ground too. So I don't know.
Yep. I'm starting to lean towards, they mean something. They don't mean anything to us. I don't believe there's a structure out there, not an arch, a TP, a cross, an X, that's for us. I don't think it's for us at all. I think it's for them. It's all for them. Because I really don't think they give a crap about us, to be honest with you. They just want to avoid us. But I think we're like a bothersome to them. But what I've noticed with the arches, always buy a game trail. Every time I find one, there's a game trail right there. So I think it might be a markers for, hey, this is a good area to hunt. This is a good place to be. Like I said, that's where we found the hog. It was not far from arches. Me and Jim have found other arches, and you could follow them. Oh, here's another arch. Oh, there's another arch. And you can follow them. I don't pay a lot of attention to X's. And the only reason is, I'm not saying there's no credence to X's at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't spend a lot of time on them, because any 2 sticks that fall down can form that shape. See what I'm saying? Now, if I find something very unique about them, like it's 2 pine trees crossed, and I'm in an oak forest, okay, there's a problem here. There's a serious issue here. Somebody's got to explain something to me. See what I'm saying? But if I'm in a pine forest and I got 2 pine trees that are laying like this, I don't put a whole lot of weight into it because I do give Mother Nature some credit. I really do. And when I'm out there, I do explain that to the people that this is really interesting. But so is Mother Nature. She's very interesting as well. So, but if it's something very intricate that takes some work and takes some effort, that says something right there. You find a structure that it's multiple branches from different locations, different sizes that were all linked up in this one area. That says something. That says something. Okay, that's unique. You know what I mean? When you find an arch and it's shoved into the ground, that says something. That's definitely unique. So those are the things I look for when I'm out there. The hard part down here is footprints, because we do have a lot of hog activity, a lot. And hogs kill you on trying to find prints. They kill you. You know what I mean? So those are fewer and far between. But you just keep going out there. You just keep trying to find them, you know? Like I said, I think it's an animal. He's out there. He's living, breathing. He's procreating. He's creating families. He's doing everything a living biological creature does. He's just really good at hiding, and he's really good at avoiding humans. And we've got to find a way to beat him at his game, you know, because he seems to be one step ahead of us, either by scent or by sight or something. But to me, he's just a regular biological creature. You know, I don't really get into all the paranormal side of it. You know, I don't trust mindspeak, because trust me, when I got scared out of the woods, oh, there was mind speaking going on. You know, but it was me. It was me telling me, don't turn around, don't run, just get out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't Sasquatch telling me, don't turn around, you know, get out of here. You know what I mean? So I think the mind is a very, very intricate and very powerful thing. And if you're not careful, you can get fooled. I've been fooled. I've had people show me stuff that I almost bought into it right away. And it took somebody else's eyes to point something out. And then you go, yeah, now I see it. You know, so the mind can be tricked. And so I don't get into the mind speak thing. I'm not saying it's not possible or it doesn't happen or anything like that. It just brings up way too many questions for me. And I try to keep things simple. You know, like if you're going to mind speak to me, Spence, what language are you mind speaking to me in? You're going to speak English because that's what you know. That's what you're thinking in. When you go to bed at night and dream, you dream in English. See what I'm saying? So if Sasquatch was going to mind speak to me, he would have to know English for me to understand anything that he's trying to portray to me. Now, he may be able to portray fear, anger, emotion, something like that, but to speak to me and have a conversation, I don't think so. See what I'm saying? I think if it does happen, like, you know, with different animals, it's interspecies. It's inside their own species that may be able to do it. But can a bird do it to a dog? Can a dog do it to a horse? See what I'm saying? I see what I'm saying. These are the questions I have when it comes to mind speak. How does it work? Or how will it work? You know what I mean? Because if I portray something to you, I'm going to portray it in a way I think you understand.
Well, I mean, for the sake of argument, for all intents and purposes, as long as you're approaching the subject from the point of, if we can all agree that there are no experts, we don't 100% understand this thing or what we're going after here. I think that whatever way anybody wants to approach it, if you're strictly flesh and blood, if you're on the, you know, what is commonly referred to as the woo, which I don't mean that in a derogatory way, everybody knows that, but on the more mystical, magical aspect of it, if you believe in that, I don't care what somebody's personal opinions on the subject are, as long as you're being very fair and honest with what you're representing. But I do think that you have to go out of your way to put your own biases aside and be very open-minded on this. As long as you can be open-minded and listen to everybody, then there's a chance that we can learn from other people. But if you get to a point where you've got these limits where you're just like, nope, that can't happen, or they do this, they don't do that. If you get into that area, I feel like you're probably going to end up missing a lot of stuff just because you're opinionated on it. But if we can all agree to just keep it open mind, I don't really care what other people's opinions on the subject are. I know what I've experienced, and I try to pay other people attention. Damn, did you just go away again? Mark got cut off again, or Rick did. There he is. There you are.
I'm used to it. I'm fast now. No, I understand what you're saying. And I'm not saying there's not mind speak. What I'm saying is it's never happened to me, and I need to understand it more. I have questions. If somebody can answer these questions, or even if they can tell me how I can make it happen, if it means I need to meditate for 20 minutes a day, or whatever I need, then I'll meditate for 20 minutes a day. Trust me, when I go out in the woods, I'm thinking, I'm talking, I'm trying to be a nice person in the woods and go, okay, big fella, I'm out here again. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Right.
If you can understand me.
Me good.
Yeah. Friend.
So I do go out there, and I have very clear, happy thoughts when I'm in the woods. I really do. And they say you really need to do that when you go out there, and just no negativity. I don't have any negativity when I'm out there. I'm where I want to be. I like being in the woods. So what I'm saying is I don't understand it. I don't know how it works, and I have a lot of questions. And if those questions can get answered, then that you're helping me understand that side of it, and I can start buying into, okay, mind speak, is something that could happen to me, which I'm not looking forward to. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm a meat and potato guy, and I look at the evidence that are out there. You've been out in the woods, you found evidence, people that found evidence. The one thing that we can all agree on is it leaves footprints, it leaves hair, it leaves DNA, it makes noises, it hunts. We know that. There's many stories where they've grabbed a deer or a hog, but everything everybody comes up with, all biological. It's all natural to happen for a creature that's living in the woods, and I can buy into that. That's natural. I can grasp that. So I go in it in the mentality of a hunter that I'm going to find signs, and I need to follow these signs, And if I hear something, then I need to stop and listen, not chase it, not run after whatever noise I heard. Stop and listen. See what I'm saying? Is it going to happen again? One knock, that could be anything. It could be anything. But you get a series of knocks. Okay, now we're on to something. See what I'm saying? So I want to wait. I want to watch. I want to listen. I want to smell. There's got to be more to it. And that's what I'm waiting on. And as a hunter, that's what we do. You go out, you try to find bugs, scrapes, any kind of antler sheds, anything like that. See what I'm saying? Anything that lets you know they're there. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for. Something that says they're there. And then I can move forward. I can leave some equipment out, maybe change up the times that I'm out there to throw them off. There's different things I can do, but it's all based on the evidence that I can actually accumulate and put in front of me and say, okay, there's something here. There's something going on, and I'm a true believer. 100% this thing exists. 100%, without a question in my mind. lay my head down every day knowing this thing exists. Absolutely. You know,
Correct.
now it's just trying to get that 10 seconds. And I talk to him. I'll say I'll talk to him because I asked him, hey, I'm not selfish. 10 seconds is all I need. Just give me 10 seconds.
Walk in front of me at 100 yards. Just walk right there. Let me record.
Give me 10 seconds and I'll leave you alone forever. You know what I mean?
That's such a lie. That's such a lie. It
tells me Sasquatch is extremely selfish.
That's what it is. Maybe instead of going out and being nice, what we should be doing is we walk in the woods and we're like, look, you selfish mother, show yourself to me. That's all you got to do.
You know I'm out here for you. You know I'm filming or doing this, and you can't give me 10 seconds of your time. You're selfish.
It's been years. Years. A lot of money. A lot of effort.
Look at these greats. Like I said, this guy, Ivan Sanderson, and Jeff Meldrum, or Ron Moorhead. All these 50 years in the field, and that not seen it. You've had the greatest minds ever out there looking for this thing that have passed away now and never saw it. And that's sad. That's sad. You feel for them.
Just because they come from a scientific background doesn't mean I would naturally accredit them with being some of the greatest minds. But yes, I get your point. I'm talking
Green, and I always liked him. Green. The Four Horsemen, the guys, the first four guys that were, I guess, the Mount Rushmore of the names that were going to be in this field. But they never saw one.
My point would be, for the past 50, 60 years, thereabouts, we've been looking at this. We've been approaching this subject the same way and doing the same things over and over again. And we've gotten the same results. Every now and then, once every, couple generations, we seem to get a breakthrough with as far as somebody capturing something pretty decent or whatnot. But, there's a large possibility, and this is just my opinion. I mean, no offense to anybody, but there's a large possibility. They approached the subject thinking that this was an undiscovered primate.
Right.
And they treated it like that.
Right.
If that hasn't worked for the past 50, 60 years, maybe it is time to, number one, treat the subject differently. Maybe it's not just an undiscovered primate. And number two, we need everybody on every aspect of the spectrum that's in the Bigfoot world. We all need to communicate, compare notes. Let's put our egos to the side and everybody try to understand what the people across from us are saying, and let's just actually listen and think about it. And with the advancement of technology that we have nowadays, I think that maybe possibly we'll get closer. I mean, even though I think Squirrel is a freaking wackadoodle most of the time, she's rubbed off on me in the past year and kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things. And so have a bunch of other people. And I tell you, in all honesty, the way I approach it now is a little bit different than I did a year ago, or the year before that, or the year before that. You know what I mean? And I just, in my opinion, we have to work together.
Oh yeah. I just, like me, I think you're right. I think it's more than a primate. It's more. Now, I don't know how much more or how intelligent these things are, but it's not, like you said, you can go on the primate side of it. Like me, I'm all about it being biological. But I think it's more than what
right.
Now, like when we say intelligence, who knows how intelligent it is? It's not it's not solving mathematical equations. It's building stick structures and stuff like that. And as far as we know, it's not using fire. So, but it's smarter than us in its environment.
Right.
It will run circles around us. And I've told this story, and people probably heard me say the story before. and I was telling to a guy that went out in the woods with me one time. I said, listen, you know for a fact the Florida Panthers exist. We know that for a fact. And if you walk through these woods right now, there could be a panther 10 feet from you, and you'd never know it.
That is true.
It would sit there, and it would be quiet, and it would let you walk by. It feels threatened. It's just going to freeze, hide, and you're going to walk by. If it's hungry, it's going to wait till you're close enough. Too late, he's on you. But he's smarter than you. Because what are you doing when you come in the woods? You're breaking branches. You're stomping grass. You're coughing and hoofing, and you're wearing deodorant and whatever. You know what I mean? They know you're there because that's not your environment. As hard as I try to be quiet in the woods, I make mistakes. I step on something that pops like a shotgun going off, or a stick smacks me in the face and I'm cursing left and right. I make mistakes. They know I'm there. See what I'm saying? But you take that same panther and you pick him up and you take him and you drop him off in downtown Manhattan or whatever, right there in town square, he's going to freak out. He's going to run circles everywhere trying to figure out what to do and where to go because he's not in his environment.
He's out of his environment.
He's now in your environment, and we're smarter in that environment than he is. So I see that when I go out in the woods, I'm thinking, I'm the dummy. This creature's way smarter than I am in the woods. This is his area.
Yeah.
But if he walks into a neighborhood, he's out of his element. We got him. See what I'm saying? That's why he avoids it. He avoids it. There's people that avoid the woods because they're not comfortable out there.
That is true.
You know?
Rick, we've been at this for 2 hours now. I got the link for your channel in the description of the show. What's the actual name of it, the way that it is on YouTube?
It's BFFG for Bigfoot Forest Giants dash Bigfoot Research.
Yeah, you've actually got the acronym BFFG.
Right, BFFG dash Bigfoot Research. And it's really funny. I don't know if you went through it. You're way bigger than I am. We hit 500 subscribers, and I was so excited. I was like, wow,
hey,
there's enough people to fill a jet that likes me. You know what I mean? And so as soon as I said that, I checked it. I'm at $4.99. So they were giving me a little taste, but
somebody, y'all, one of y'all run over there and get him back up to 500. In fact, two of y'all go over there and get him over 500. It's the least we can do.
What's really funny about it is 500 don't get you anything. It's just a goal. It's just, wow, it'd be awesome. I was happy when I had 25. I was like, how are 25 people liking this? See what I'm saying? But now all of a sudden, I'm 10 months later, I'm at 500, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I thank my subscribers in every single video, every single one of them. I thank my subscribers. Matter of fact, if you'll give me 1 second,
sure.
Okay, I would like to thank a subscriber. Okay, and I don't want to say her name because I don't have permission, but she emails me quite a bit. And I just want to let her know that she is absolutely appreciated. She's absolutely appreciated. I just want her to know that.
There you go. You're up to at least 505 right now.
That's awesome. I mean, it's like I said, it doesn't change. YouTube don't do anything for you at 500. It's just when you get close to that number, you're like, wow, 500, man, that'd be an awesome number to hit. That would be really amazing. And then when I hit it, I was so thankful. I put messages out there thanking every subscriber I could and say, I greatly appreciate you guys. I really do. And I appreciate them coming along on the ride and hanging out with me. And they can also, if any subscriber wants to talk or whatever, we have a email account. It's bigfootforestgiants@gmail.com. bigfootforestgiants@gmail.com. Very easy. And if they want to talk or share or whatever, we're an open book. Me, Jimmy, Bobby, and Mike, we're an open book. And whoever you want to talk to, I'll forward the email to that guy on the team, and they'll talk to you.
Now, see, if Misty was on here, she would have the email address of your thing running down at the bottom here. But Misty takes care of all the technical stuff like that, and I'm a damn idiot anyway, so I can't. But I'll put up our email.
Yeah, that works. Any emails that you want to send me, send it to Woodwalkers2511, and he'll forward it to me.
That is true. I do a lot of forwarding. Just so y'all know, whenever you write and you're like, hey, I want to talk to this person or reach out to that person, I do it. I am not like a lot of the other channels that I could get on my high horse and start complaining about, because I go to them and ask very politely, could you please give your guest my information, because I have something that pertains to them and I would like to talk to them. I am not like that. I actually, try to forward the information and everything. So if you want to go, shut up, go away. You're not on the show tonight. Go away. Don't interrupt me while I'm doing this.
I was kind of hoping she'd be on the show. I was kind of hoping that,
Trust me, Rick, everybody was hoping that she was on the show. They'd rather see her up here by herself instead of me up here by myself. But hey,
well, I can say in the language that she'll understand. Okay, Misty, you purty.
She is that, and she knows.
Bigfoot Forest Giants at gmail.com, BFFG, Bigfoot Research. We do have a Facebook page. It does pretty good. But we're very strict on the Facebook page. Very strict. You will not go to our Facebook page, and that's just regular Bigfoot Forest Giants. You will not see Blob Squatch. You won't see AI. You won't see CGI. Everything that goes on our Facebook page is vetted through one of the team members. Every bit of it. So that's doing our part, trying to keep those hoaxers out of our site, out of it. You know what I mean? So that way we have a good place that people feel comfortable, and they will not be, I apologize, Richard. I didn't get to meet you. I don't think she can blush. But anyways.
No, she's not blushing.
But it's a good Facebook is a good place, to socialize and stuff like that. Like I said, we really do a good job of pushing out all the junk.
I got to be honest. It's just like the Beast Facebook page. If everybody that sees this video, if you are not a member of the Sawdust Beast Facebook page, go join it. Honestly, I'll push the Beast page more than I will our own page, because there's more people on there. They present more stuff and everything, but we try to keep it very clean. I will say, if it is not directly Bigfoot related, if it's something that has been shown 1,000 times, if it is something that is obviously, AI generated or obviously a hoax or whatnot, we get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I'm a stickler for whenever they ask questions, because I'm one of the people that let you on there. When they ask questions, if you apply to come on the Facebook page and you don't answer the questions, I'll just let it sit there. Because I want people on there that take the subject seriously. I want everybody to have a good time, but I want it to be related to Bigfoot and be, legitimate stuff. I got no problem with keeping a very clean Facebook page, because so many pages are just loaded with
junk.
In my opinion,
horrible junk. I am almost to the point where I think some of these pages, and for some reason they're all called the same name, I think they were made by non-believers just to create a place to attack believers. See what I'm saying? And It's horrible. I see the stuff on there and it's horrible. Sometimes I'll come to the defense of somebody because they're attacking somebody really hard.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I don't get involved. I don't even get involved because I don't need that negativity pouring off into my groups and my people and stuff like that. But like I said, if they come to our Facebook page, it's very cut and dry. There is no, you're not going to, you might even say it's boring, maybe. I don't know. But you're not going to see junk. You're just not going to see it. You know?
I think that is the truth. I think a lot of pages, you know, I understand the mentality. A lot of pages, they want to be like, oh, well, I've got 17,000 people. And then this page is like, yeah, well, I've got 35,000 people. Well, that's because you let everybody post absolutely everything.
Everything.
And I'm not complaining if they want to do that with their pages. That's their prerogative. If I'm interested in Bigfoot, I remember whenever I first started looking into this, I wanted to get information. I was trying to absorb real information from the real people that actually knew something or thought that they knew something. They were putting out there what they were finding. And scrolling through Facebook is like, oh my God, it's like pulling nails.
Oh, it's
trying to find something decent on there. But
I would waste my whole day doing nothing but trying to correct people on there. And I just don't do it. I'm like, God, what wasted energy. And like I said, I don't want to attack anybody, and I don't want to attack a channel or anything like that, you know, because like I said, there's that entertainment purpose side of it. And if you're entertained by what that person's saying or entertained by what that person's putting out, then that's what it is. Finding Bigfoot on television, Expedition Bigfoot, that is nothing but entertainment.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? And
I
people
agree.
love those shows. They want chat groups to talk about the show. It is nothing but entertainment. That's all it is. And it has its place. It has its place.
If I was a TV producer and I was doing it for ratings and to make money, I would do the exact same thing. Yep. I'm not calling fouls or strikes or balls on anybody for doing what they do. It's me.
Because if they did it like I do it, we go broke. We'd go hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You would if you're only like showing structure and a possible track 4 or 5 times a year. I mean, that's
right. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't really understand. It is hard. You know, it's not only that, it's time consuming because you got to find the time to get out there. It's expensive. All the equipment. I got a backpack full of equipment. I got equipment over here. I got equipment everywhere. I bought it all myself. Thousands of dollars worth of stuff that I had to buy. There's not a TV producer out there saying, hey, I'm going to give you money. Go find Bigfoot. It just doesn't happen like that. See what I'm saying? We're all self-funded. Everybody out there that you see on these channels are self-funded, you know, and it's very expensive, you know.
It takes a ton of personal time and effort to do this kind of stuff. It really does.
They'll see a 20, 30-minute video from me, but I was out there for 4 hours. You know?
Yeah.
I do about 250 hours a year.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a lot when there's 8,400 hours in a year. But when you start looking at it, 250 is a lot. That's every weekend out there, at least a Saturday or a Sunday for at least 4 hours. And that's not always including the 3 or 4 times a year I go on these 3-day camping trips.
And, you know, hey, y'all, that's why everybody needs to check out Rick's channel, him and the other guys, their channel. That's why everybody needs to check it out. I mean, you know, you'll see what it's like to go out to, I think he's got some good content on there. You'll see what it's like to go out and actually look for this thing down in Florida, which I'm enjoying it because I'm not in Florida. But anyway, Rick, thanks for being on the show.
No, Spence, it's been fantastic. I couldn't tell you. It's been great. You gave me an avenue to speak my mind, and I love it.
That's what we try to do, man. If anybody out there that ends up watching this has anything they want to talk about, you want to come on the show or whatnot, hit me up at that email address right there. We'll probably end up doing some kind of live show in between now and Christmas, probably. You know, anyway, it might be a late night thing, and it might be one of the more comical things and the less serious thing, because we're getting at the end of the year. And I've got a couple other people lined up, but they're in January for right now, and it's that time of year where we all need a break and everything. But anyway, keep an eye out for the lives. Check out Rick's channel. Check out everybody that we support. Sawdust Beast, Mark and Rebecca Green, Cedar Creek Bottoms, Discover Sasquatch. I really got to get Chris to put Moogs is in here. Check out Movie Law Monsters channel. I mean, it's awesome. Y'all all know that. Cam, Dixie Cryptid. Check out Roger's channel. Check out Mike Bluler's channel. Red Creek Mafia. Roger's got Squatch and Holler. Roger's had some really good guests. By the way, I see Roger is in chat now, but Roger couldn't get his ass on here to co-host earlier. That's awfully coincidental. But anyway, y'all know who we like. We got a bunch of them. I can't remember the names of everybody. We probably will have something before Christmas. But in between now and then, just in case we don't, hope everybody has absolutely awesome Christmas. We love y'all. Thank you for watching. Let us know if you need anything, and if not, we'll see you soon, I reckon. Rick, hang on backstage, and we'll talk to everybody later. Thanks, y'all. See ya.
God bless you.
Yep. Squirrel.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again. Hold on.
Yep. I know you do it on purpose.